I am in the top 2.5% in the world on FPL, but with 5 flagged and injured players, can I deal with this problem and still push on the ranks, or will I drop down in my position? Let's find out in the latest team selection video. Let's start at the bottom and work up. Of course, we have Areola in net. A great fixture with Burnley away. Likely to get a clean sheet, I feel like. However, Aston Villa haven't really been producing as much as we hoped recently. Of course, moving on to the first flagged player, we have Matty Cash. Now, it seems he has played since getting this injury and has trained also. So it is likely he will start for Aston Villa. However, with the run of fixtures Aston Villa have, it could be time to move him out. Let me just read the fixtures that they have coming up. So, of course, Spurs away this week. It's not a great fixture, of course, but with Spurs' suspensions and injuries, it could turn into an okay fixture to keep him, considering not everyone has really got a good fixture this week. Then 14, of course, a great fixture with Bournemouth away. But then we really move into the difficult fixtures with City, Arsenal, Brentford, Sheffield, and then United on game week 19. I think it could be time to move Matty Cash along. But I don't really mind holding him for 2 weeks if I really, really need to. It could be the case Matty Cash turns into a William Saliba or a Gabriel from Arsenal. I think Arsenal assets are probably some of the better ones defensively at the moment. Their fixtures being in the next 5: Brentford, Wolves, Luton, Aston Villa and Brighton. So, yeah, William Saliba could be joining the team for Matty Cash, but I don't really mind holding him at the moment. Mark Gahey is the next player. Luton away is not a bad fixture at all. However, it is away, and I feel like Luton do play much, much, much better at home. But I think Crystal Palace, now they have Eze back, it could, reinvent them a little bit, but I'm not too sure. I'm hoping for a clean sheet from Gahey. I'm really relying on that this week, especially with half of my team really playing against each other. So it's going to be a low-scoring week, I feel like, but hopefully this player, 5.4%, it's a nice kind of differential pick almost. Yeah, I'm hoping for a clean sheet there. And with the next 3 fixtures, West Ham and Bournemouth and Liverpool, I'm hoping for these early points to possibly move him on in the next 4 weeks, potentially. Of course, Trippier remains in the squad. His fixtures are kind of meh. They're just okay. You got Chelsea at home, Man United at home. Both home fixtures, and I really like that. Chelsea, I don't know what you're going to get with them. I don't know how they're going to deal with Newcastle, especially with going to St. James's Park. I think they might struggle. Man United is, again, I think they'll struggle going to St. James's Park. They're just not a good team at all. Then they move on to Everton, Spurs, Fulham, Luton, and have a fantastic run of fixtures. So I think Trippier really does earn his place and have to stay in that squad, especially with the assist potential he puts out in my squad. Just on the defence quickly, let's talk about the other 2 defenders. They are both flagged, Kabore and Lamptey. So it would be the case that Archer becomes first on my bench, and especially with that Bournemouth at home fixture, I wouldn't even mind playing him over some of the midfielders or forwards if they are injured, and we'll go on to that in the next section now. So just to keep on that topic of Archer possibly coming in, we do have a flagged player in the squad, and that is Jarrod Bowen. We just don't know enough at the moment to comment whether this man's going to play or not. However, I could easily put in Archer for Bowen just to save a transfer, and I don't think it's necessarily an option to go, yeah, I'm going to get rid of Jarrod Bowen this week, because the fixtures are good for him coming up. He's got Burnley this week, pardon me, Palace after that at home, then Spurs, then Fulham, then Wolves, then Man United. So he's got good fixtures coming up. Ideally, you would like to keep him, hence why I'm keeping Areola as my goalkeeper. I just think it's a safe bet, and especially if Bowen plays, he's likely to get 90 minutes, well, close to 90 minutes anyway. This injury might hold him back slightly, but yeah, on that topic, Archer could come in for Bowen this week, just a sub, no transfer there. However, let's move and talk on about a transfer that could potentially happen in this squad. Now, I like Palmer. I really do like Palmer of Chelsea. I think he's a very important player for Chelsea, probably one of their more important ones at the moment. And I think Andringer could make way for that move. It's simply because Forest away is a hard-ish fixture. Forest's home record is quite good, for the standard of team which they are. And then when you look past that, you've got Chelsea away, Brentford at home, then Burnley at home. It's only really Burnley at home. Why you would want to keep Andringer at the moment? It's not really worth holding him for 4 weeks just to get that Burnley at home fixture. I feel like it's potential that we just go to Palmer, understand that Palmer's going to get a lot of minutes at Chelsea and be on penalties for the time being. Of course, and Nkunku coming back could be a danger in the next few weeks. However, with Chelsea's fixture swing coming up in, I think it was game week 14. Let me just check that for you guys. Game week 16 is really when it turns for Chelsea, with Everton, Sheffield United, Wolves, Crystal Palace, Luton, Fulham. They're going an unbelievable run in game week 16. I think that's why I'm really looking at Palmer at the moment. Yes, he's going to play in the next 4 weeks, guaranteed 90-minute player. However, when Nkunku comes back, would you rather just have Nkunku and then take Palmer out? I'm not too sure. We'll see how Nkunku fits into this Chelsea squad when he arrives back from this injury he has had. But Palmer, again, could be that transfer this week. Son, now, the players that are injured, the players that are suspended, it's going to weaken Son just a little bit, I feel like. However, it's Son. With the system Spurs are playing and where he is playing in terms of position, I still think you've got to keep him. Even with the hard fixtures coming up, if someone's going to score for Spurs, I feel like it has to be Son. I really do. I just think there's not going to be a lot of creative output elsewhere, potentially. I think you're kind of looking at Porro, Kulusevski, maybe if they play Lo Celso because Maddison's injured. I don't really know. But I think that Son's going to be, behind a lot of the assists and goals that Spurs are getting, even with these hard fixtures coming up. Salah with the away fixture, Man City. Now, it's not the best fixture. However, I feel like Liverpool have a point to prove, not having a good season last season. Doing okay this season, but I think they've got to go to Man City and really prove a point that they're in for this title this season, and they've got to win this match. I think it's a match that it's going to prove a lot of people that we're here to compete, we're here to play. But it's tough. Man City are a decent team at the moment, and I think they're going to be hard to beat. I do see Salah potentially getting one return, but I don't really see it being a high-scoring game whatsoever. Diaby, another player that could make way. I think the theme of this video is really moving on from the players we brought in for the good fixture run and moving on to other players who have good fixture run potential. Now, Diaby, it could be the case he moves to an Mbeumo, and now Mbeumo I really like the look of, and he is really probably the most priority transfer in the next coming weeks. Probably not this week because they have the Arsenal home fixture. However, I do fancy Brentford against Arsenal. Just that kind of like rivalry with Tony on Twitter saying nice kickabout with the boys. If anyone remembers that was absolutely jokes. But yeah, I think it could be the case, and Mbeumo makes my way into my team in the next few weeks for that fixture run he's got coming up. Now, forwards, of course, Haaland is flagged, but I don't think it's much to worry at all. I believe it's just a small knock on his left ankle. I'm not too sure which ankle it is. I don't know why I said that, but yeah, his ankle was bad. I think he'll be fine. It's Haaland at the end of the day. He needs to be in this team for it to work. I say that, but they could play Alvarez, but Haaland is likely to get the game, and I'm not going to transfer him out. Although I could just put Archer in if we know Haaland isn't going to start, but I'm not too sure we're going to get that information ahead of the deadline. Watkins. Now, yes, I've spoke about moving Aston Villa assets on. However, Watkins, I feel like we have to keep. Now, the reason behind this is because, yes, he's going to play 90 minutes. He's barely going to get subbed, and he's always going to play that position and be that player. Now, yes, he's not on penalties, but I feel like he's going to be amongst the assists, amongst the goals, like he has been doing in the last few weeks this season. So for me, he has to stay. In terms of captaincy, I think it's a huge debate again this week. You know, with the likes of Son, Salah, Haaland, all being these premium players. I think potentially Haaland keeps it. But honestly, I think it's a huge toss-up this game week. Yes, Haaland's at home. That kind of pushes him more towards me putting that captaincy armband on him. But Son does tempt me a little bit. But with the absence of some of their players, I think I've got to go with Haaland this week. But let me know what you think in the comments. Who are you captaining? Who are you bringing in this game week? You know, I think it's an interesting game week to think about fixture runs in the future, especially with like big competitions coming up, like the Asian Cup and the African Cup of Nations, I believe, are both coming up soonish. So the likes of Son, likes of Salah could be going to those tournaments and staying very long because they are in decent teams. But let's just see how we get on this week. It looks like a difficult game week on paper, and I think it probably will be. But good luck to everyone going forward. If you've watched to this point now and enjoyed the video, drop a like and a subscribe. It helps me massively, and hopefully I'm helping you on your FPL journeys. But that's everything for today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.